uh, 45% still said that it's going to be that the peak will happen between 2030 and 2040. And perhaps more interestingly, 21% said, only 21% said oil demand will peak before 2030. And to compare that to some of the previous results that we saw, so that's 21% now. In 2024, last year, it was 38%. And in 2022, it was 50%. And I don't have it in front of me right now, but during the pandemic, it was even higher. And just before the pandemic, it was much lower. So to your question, I think it's been interesting, before the pandemic and the pandemic shock to demand, I think there was a lot more confidence in continued oil demand growth. And then we had the pandemic, and during this period, it was very clear for us to see the shift in sentiment where, I think a lot more people got concerned about the future of oil demand growth. And then since then, we can now see that that shift back into more and more people thinking oil demand will continue growing at least through 2030. So fascinating, I think. And again, I mean, IEA doesn't know. We don't know. Nobody really knows. But it's interesting to see how this sentiment is shifting. And one thing I would also note, and perhaps we'll find a way to ask this in future surveys, is when we talk about oil demand peaking, but oil demand is not necessarily going to peak and then fall off a cliff. It's very much possible that it peaks and remains at that level or at a very high level for a prolonged period of time. Maybe, so I think that's sometimes lost in translation for some people, but it is. I'll try to see if we can squeeze that into a future survey.
Fantastic.